Yes.
About the book of Revelation chapter 12. So many people think the book of Revelation was sealed. It's not sealed. Actually, the name itself says revealed, Revelation. The only book which was sealed, which was closed, is the book of Daniel. Daniel was told to seal up the book of Daniel until the time of the end. So once we have understood the book of Daniel, we have got the key to unlock the book of Revelation, isn't it? Yeah. So the book of Revelation is revealed. It's a revelation. So we have to be dwelling much into the books of Daniel and Revelation, because at the time of the end, they've been opened. Yeah? And they contain so much information that prepares us for the coming of Christ, for the translation, the events that are soon fast going to occur on earth. They are all in the book of Revelation. So we have to be understanding those so that we can be able to be ready for the soon coming kingdom. So we are going to read from the Revelation chapter 12, verse 1.
Verse 1.
Yes.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Right. So we see what we have on the board here. We have a woman. Yeah? The only dressing that the woman has is the sun. You see the sun where it is?
Yes.
And this woman is dressed in the sun. Nothing has been mentioned about her dressing except the sun. Right? And what was there again?
And the moon under her feet.
Under her feet here we see what? The moon. Right? Uh-huh.
And upon her head,
right,
a crown of 12 stars.
And what is on her head? A crown of 12 stars. Yeah? And what else was seen on that woman?
And she, being with child,
yeah,
cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered.
Mm-hmm.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven.
Right, wait there. So this woman, what we know about this woman is that she has a dress of the sun. Yeah? And under her feet is the moon. Right? And what is on the crown? 12 stars. And what else about this woman? She's pregnant. At what stage of pregnancy? At the time for deliverance. Those are the key marks we have on this prophecy. Because we have to unlock what it is. Yeah? So we know this is a compacted prophecy of the coming of Christ, isn't it? And most people say this woman, of course the Bible says the woman is a church. Yeah? Which is true. A woman is a what? A church. It says so, isn't it? In Ephesians chapter 5 it says so. That men love your women, isn't it? As Christ loved His church. So it means the woman is a church. But where some get lost and some get it right is which church? Some people say this church is the early Christian, is the Jewish church. And some say it's an early Christian church because this woman is carrying Christ. But the key to it is that this woman is carrying Christ in the womb, isn't it? Because we see whether the baby is Christ or not on the verses that follow. They will show that this child, when that child was born, actually, let's go to it. Yeah? Verse 5.
And she brought forth a man-child,
Yeah.
who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
Right?
And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne.
Right. So this woman brought up a male child, yeah, who was to rule all nations, yeah, and with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God. That's where we get the meaning that this woman who is carrying a child, the child is male, and also the child is Christ, because he's the one who moved on this earth when he came first, yeah, and later on was taken back to heaven. So this, we have no problem in seeing that this pregnancy is the pregnancy of Mary when she was carrying Christ. Yeah? Now, to go back to it, we see which church then carried Christ. It's not the early Christian church, because the early Christian church cannot be there before Christ is born. Yeah? The early Christian church was started by Christ. So Christ cannot start a church before he is born. You understand? So this woman cannot be the early Christian church. This woman is the church which carried Christ, which had women who were worshiping God, who were preparing themselves to have this conception. You know, the virgins at the time of the Jewish church, they were all preparing themselves, knowing that in that church, Christ was going to be born, isn't it? One of the virgins was going to carry this pregnancy. Now, which woman is it now? Is the Jewish church, which was carrying Christ. Mary was a member of the Jewish church, is it? So she was preparing herself as a virgin, going to carry Christ in her womb, right? So when we see this woman is about to deliver the child, so if you are about to deliver, the child is still where? In the womb. Yeah? So Christ has not been born yet, so it can't be the Christian church. It is the Jewish church at the time when it was about to deliver Christ. That's straightforward, isn't it? And then when the child was delivered, then therefore after that, he started the early Christian church by getting converts from the Jewish church who first became the Christians. Do we understand the prophecy? It's straightforward. So let's go back to it. We are seeing this woman. What this woman is got authority. For sure, the Jewish church is appropriate to that woman because it's the church when the group of people who went out of Egypt are the ones who were starting this Jewish church, isn't it? And then it progressed until the time Christ came. These were being led by a prophet called Moses, isn't it? And Moses, the first thing he did was to write the 5 first books of the Bible. So this is, what is the son in the Bible? What is this son? Go to that verse in Psalms. Psalms chapter 119, verse 105. And we see what is the symbolism of the sun. What is light in the Bible?
Thy word.
Thy word.
Unto my face.
So this light is the brightest light, is the sun, isn't it? And it's a symbolism of the word of God. And who wrote the word of God first? It's Moses, giving that word of God to this woman. When he wrote the ceremonial law on the first 5 books of the Bible, his books of the Bible went to which church? The Jewish church, isn't it? So this woman is infested with the light, was given the first light. And this woman is appropriate because when we see the light is during the day, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But when we see the moon, it's at night, isn't it? Yeah. So this church had gone through 2 periods of time in history. It had lived when the Bible had not been written. You understand? Which period was that when the Bible was not there? Before Moses wrote the Bible. They went out of Egypt without a Bible. What did they have? They have a moon. The time when the Bible is not there, the time when the sun is not there, what time is that? The night. So they went through a period where it was symbolized as a night, which is only using the moon. You understand? And the moon just takes light from the sun. So that time when they went out of Egypt, they didn't have the Bible. They didn't have the sun. Yeah? So what were they relying upon? The words from the prophet. That's all that they were relying upon. You understand? Yes. So that's why a prophet is very important, because before the Bible was written, there was no pastor. There was no elder. There was a prophet only. Go to the time of Samuel, there was no pastor. There were leaders of Israel who were under the prophet. You remember Saul was under Samuel, right? Who was in charge of the church at that time? The prophet, not the pastor. You understand? Now, we don't want to divert the subject, but it's just to show you how important a prophet is. If you proclaim that there is no prophet, well, I don't understand. Even when Moses went out of Egypt, they did not look for a pastor to take Moses out of to take Israel out of Egypt. They looked for a prophet. So the prophet, by a prophet, they were taken out of Egypt. By a prophet, they were preserved. By a prophet, they entered Canaan. Amen. Hosea says it all, isn't it? Hosea chapter 4 says it. They went out by a prophet, and they were preserved in the wilderness by a prophet, and they entered Canaan by a prophet. Moses had 70 elders, but when God was speaking, he was using Moses. You understand? So Moses is the one who wrote the 5 first books to empower this woman with light, to empower with the sun. You understand? But this woman had gone through a period under the moon where it is dark. Only prophets were working. There was no Bible. At that time, this is the only church which went to 2 periods. Time when there was no Bible. So what were they using? The moon. Moon meaning prophets. Do you understand? And then the time when the Bible had been written by Moses, what were they using? The sun. So the prophet was the one who was assigned to write the 5 books. Do you get the point? So that's what we are getting from Revelation chapter 12. So read on, let's see what happened there from verse 3 where we were. Yeah?
And she being with child cried, travailing in bed, and urged to be delivered. Mm-hmm. And there appeared another wonder in heaven.
Yeah.
And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns,
right,
and 7 crowns upon his head.
Right. So we have another wonder then, still in heaven. Who are we seeing? A red dragon. Yeah? How many heads does the dragon have? 7 heads. How many horns? 10 horns. Yeah? This significance of 7 heads and 10 horns, you will see when you go to Revelation chapter 12. Those heads and horns were now delivered to the people. You understand? It was now not the dragon with 7 heads. It was the beast of Revelation 13 and 10 horns. So we want to know where these 7 heads and where these 10 horns were coming from. They are coming from where? The dragon. Yeah? So what are heads in prophets? Go to Revelation chapter 17, verse 9. We will find that a woman is sitting on 7 heads, isn't it? But we want to know what are heads in prophets.
And he is the mind,
right,
which is wisdom. Mm-hmm. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman seated.
So, Revelation 17, we are seeing heads, a woman sitting on heads, isn't it?
Yes.
But then these 7 heads are mountains. So what are mountains? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2. What are mountains?
Verse 2.
Verse 2.
And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountain.
So,
It shall be exalted.
what is a mountain according to that?
It's the Lord's house.
It's a church. Do you understand? But then we are seeing here, the woman also is a symbol of a church. You understand? We saw it in Ephesians. The woman is a church. And we were seeing the dragon also has brought systems also of worship. Church. So we can't say these are good churches, but we are saying there is a system of worship which is not found in this woman. Yeah? Which is only found, which has only been brought by the dragon. So you have got to check your systems of worship and see if they are with this woman or from the dragon. Because the dragon brought 7, meaning complete systems of worship. Yeah? But these systems of worship are not from God. They are from the dragon. So you have to check what system of worship you are in. And check to the law and to the testimony. Yeah? Before you ever do anything or start worshiping, check, is it to the law and to the... Because if you just do anything and say, because there's love, you have to check with the doctrine. It's the doctrine which makes you know what is right. Yeah? Because some people say it doesn't matter what you believe, it doesn't matter, but you have to know the doctrine. You have to know from the Bible. That's why you need to read and check the doctrine if it is absolutely what God has designed. Yeah? So because we are seeing the dragon is also having 7 heads. Yeah? And also has 10 horns. What are horns? In the very same chapter of Revelation, chapter 17. What are horns? 17, verse 12.
Verse 12.
Yeah.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom.
So there are 10 kings, meaning kingdoms, isn't it? We know we are expecting God's kingdom. Yeah? It's a horn, right? But we are now seeing the devil also has got also his kingdoms. So which are these then? Because there are 10 already, isn't it? And 10 is a sign of universal. Yeah? It's a sign of universal. And 7 is a sign of completeness. Now we are seeing devil is bringing his own kingdom as well. Yeah? Bringing his own system of worship and putting it to the people. And in Revelation 13 we see now a beast with 7 heads. Now what is a beast? What is a beast?
It's a system.
It's a system, isn't it? It's now a civilization. For a quick review, go to Revelation 13. We see these 7 heads and 10 horns. Where are they now? They are not still with the dragon, but they have been given to a system where people have to follow. Right, let's go to Revelation 13. Verse 1, yeah.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads
Right.
and 10 horns.
Right.
And upon his horns 10 crowns.
So you see, the 10 horns are now crowned. But at this time, the crown was not with the dragon. The crown is with the woman from God. 12 crowns. The woman was crowned. But the 7 heads with the dragon in Revelation 12 were not crowned. But at this time, this one is the current period where we are now. Where is the crowning? The crowning is with the 10 horns. Where were they coming from? Dragon. Yeah? Now you have to ask and see where they have kingdoms that are crowned. Crown meaning authority. Crowning is authority. Where is the authority from? Is it from God or from The dragon, isn't it? Because Revelation chapter 12 told us that the dragon. How do we know that this dragon is what is this dragon? We will find out what the dragon is. The Bible has to tell us what a dragon is. You understand? But now, for now, we are seeing in Revelation 13, we have 10 horns that are crowned. Yeah? But here, what did we see? We saw the crown was on the head. The woman's head is a crown, isn't it?
Yes.
And God's system of worship is crowned.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not. And you know, when Christ was preaching in this world, there were churches as well, isn't it?
Yes.
And the only question they will ask Christ is, who gave you the authority? So meaning they were seeing they were seeing what? A crown in Christ's words, isn't it? So we have to know that at this point in time, we have two systems of worship. One coming from the dragon and the other coming from the woman, isn't it? And one is crowned 12 stars and one is crowned also 10 horns. And I'm happy because the heads on the dragon, the heads are not crowned. What is crowned? Is the horn. So when we say the heads are churches, so meaning those churches that the systems of worship coming from the devil has not been given authority. It has not been given authority. But those coming from God, the 12 stars are there in this woman. You understand?
Yes.
Because this woman later on, after Christ was born, developed into the what? Christian church at a later stage. Yeah? But initially when the woman, the baby is still in the tummy, the woman is still in the Jewish church before Christ is born. But after Christ is born, Christ now went further with the crowned authority to start the Christian church.
Amen.
Do you get the symbolism of it? And let's go back to Revelation 12 from verse 3, yeah?
And there appeared another wonder in heaven,
Mm-hmm.
and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns,
Mhm.
and 7 crowns upon his head.
So this dragon with the 7 heads, meaning a systems of worship, isn't it? And 10 also horns, which we see later in our time. The horns are now crowned, isn't it? Which one is this dragon? What is the dragon called? What is the Revelation chapter 12, verse 9 should tell you what a dragon is. Go to verse 9.
17 verse 9.
12 verse 9.
Verse 9.
Yes.
And the dragon was cast out, that old serpent,
Right.
called the devil.
You see what the
And
Bible
Satan.
calls the dragon is the devil. Yeah? And the 10 horns, we have seen what it is, 10 kings. And the 7 heads, what are they?
The churches.
Systems of worship. So check your system of worship. If it is from the woman, it continued to the early Christian church. Because Christ, who was born, who was the Son of God, who was caught up in heaven, initiated, he was the founder of the early Christian church. And the crown of this woman continued with the Christian church. Yeah? Right. Let's go further there. Mm-hmm.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven,
Yeah.
and did cast it to the earth.
If it is the devil, which is the dragon, he has got a tail. You see this tail? And when he was dropped from heaven, when he sinned in heaven, he influenced about 1/3 of the angels, isn't it? And that 1/3, when he was cast off from heaven, he was cast off with the 1/3 of evil angels, which are here on earth, to make sure his plan also of the 7 heads and the 10 horns continues. And continues to make sure he influences mankind. So there is a tug of war here between these systems. The system from the dragon and the system from the woman. Yeah? So ultimately, at the end of the whole controversy, when Christ is going to come, he's going to take 1/3 to replace this 1/3. That's all God is doing. So don't marvel of many people. You say there's many people. No. It depends whether that many people are within the third, which God is going to sift from the whole earth. Where do I get it from? Go to Revelation, to Zechariah, to the book of Zechariah. I think it's chapter 13. Go to Zechariah chapter 13, verse 9. And you'll find it's only because this red dragon drew a third of the population in heaven, isn't it? So what God is doing right now on earth is now developing the 1/3 to replace the angels that were cast out of heaven. That's all he's doing. What does Zechariah say? Yeah? From verse 8.
That in all the land,
Right?
says the Lord,
Yes.
2/3 therein shall be cut off and die.
In all the land, 2/3 shall be cut off and die.
But the third shall be left therein.
Only 1/3 is going to replace the third of the angels that came out of heaven. So how many are the ratio of those who are going to be saved from those who are not going to be saved? How many are many? Those who are going or those who are staying? Huh?
Those who are not going to be saved.
Those who are not going to be saved, it's 2/3 that's going to be discarded. And 1/3 is going to be taken back to replace the third which was taken from heaven. That's the population that God lost. That's what Zechariah is saying, isn't it? So we have to be fighting very hard to be in that 1/3. So don't come to me bragging about how many people are there, how many people are worshiping, how many things. I want you to brag with, is it written, whatever I'm practicing, is it in black and white? Yeah. Is it written? Is it prescribed by God? If it's not, it's measured in numbers, alas, 2/3 are going to be discarded and die. It's only 1/3 we are fighting very hard to enter into the third, to replace the population that was lost in heaven. Yeah? That's what Zechariah is saying, isn't it? Now let's go back to verse 9. Yeah?
And I'll bring the third part
Right.
through the fire.
So the third part is not an easy game to be in the 1/3. It's not an easy game. It's to do what the 2/3 are refusing. So 2/3, whether there are so many refusing, but you have to be in the 1/3, which is accepting the true worship from God.
And will refine them as silver is refined.
Because God will make sure those which are going to take the 1/3 that was to take the place of the 1/3 which was removed from heaven, they will be tried terribly.
Tried them as God is tried.
Terribly tried.
They shall call on my name,
And
and I will hear them.
And God says they call on his name, but they will face a time of trouble for believing what they are believing. Shunned by friends, evil spoken of, derided. They have to go through all that. Yeah? Reproached, taken as if as a devil. All the sorts of insults will come to them to refine them. Amen. So don't worry if you receive all those insults. It's a part of the process. Yes. God will make sure you are tried in fire. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And you hang on until... It's not believing that is a problem to God. What he is worried about is, are you going to hold fast until the end? Not believing. No. You can say, I baptized 2,000 people. No. The thing that is important, are they going to hold fast until the end? That's where the problem is. Because so many people believe, but somewhere along the line, they just dwindle and die. Let go. But what God is worried about mankind is, are you going to hold fast when you are being tried in fire? Yeah? And these are the people he's going to accept back to replace the 1/3 which was taken. So the 1/3 are taken from heaven, and they are in serious game to make sure you do not qualify to take their position. Isn't it? So you also should be very serious to get their places. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Let's go to Revelation 12.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads.
Yeah.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
So in the beginning, before anything, there was war in heaven, and the dragon was cast on the ground, isn't it? And when Adam and Eve were brought up, Adam and Eve were created, they faced this dragon, isn't it? It's the one that made them sin and eat the tree of life. So the war is already started by our parents and continues even during our time. So we have to make sure we really struggle within. The dragon is this one. That's the red dragon, which we saw in Revelation chapter 12. And it drew 1/3, and we have seen 1/3 of the angels have been taken from heaven. And we have seen from Zechariah chapter 13 that God will replace that population which he lost. And in the whole earth, he's saying 2/3 shall be cut off, only 1/3 will make it. It's done, because how does he know? He's got foreknowledge, isn't it? So he knows what happened before creating the earth, before creating the heaven. He knew what will transpire in heaven, isn't it? But did he stop creating even Lucifer in heaven? He didn't. It does not manipulate his foreknowledge. Yeah? And he already had that design. He saw it happening before creating heaven. But he went ahead to create the devil, even those the angels that were influenced. And also, before creating the earth, he knew who is going to replace. It's not predestination. No. It's different from predestination. It's like, what does predestination? It's like God is saying, you go, you don't. No. What he did, he gave people what is called freedom of choice. Amen. So for you to exercise your freedom of choice, he does not manipulate it. He lets you have everything and choose what you want, isn't it? So he saw people choosing. Yeah? He saw people being created. He saw who came up in each period. He saw who is going to make it. And he wrote even the books already, isn't it? He doesn't say today, oh, I've seen somebody new, let me write him. He doesn't do that. He saw everything. For me to support what I'm saying, let's go to Romans chapter 8. He knows everyone, isn't it? He knows who comes, what time you are going to die. He knows who is going to be, to make it for the kingdom. He knows, isn't it? Yes. So he does not wait to say, by surprise, I've seen so and so has entered the church today, let me write. He doesn't act like that. He's got foreknowledge. Yeah? So in his foreknowledge, he saw what is the fraction of those who are going to be saved as pertaining those who are not going to be saved. Yeah? Romans chapter 8, it's verse 28, I think. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God.
Right.
And to them who are called according to his purpose.
Right.
For whom he did foreknow.
Right.
He also did predestinate.
You see? He knew people before creation. Uh-huh.
And to be conformed to the image of his son.
Yeah.
So that he might be the firstborn among many brethren.
So he has got foreknowledge. He saw people, and he already wrote the names, isn't it? Yeah. And those who will still continue worshipping the beast, you understand? Go to Revelation chapter 14. The reason is that they are not in the book of life since the world started. Yeah. Go to Revelation chapter 14. Yeah? 13, verse 8.
Verse 8.
Yeah.
And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him.
Right?
Whose names are not written in the book of life.
You see?
Of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
From the foundation of the world, their names were not written. That's what the verse says. So don't crush yourself and say, let me go and fast this one so that he opens his brain and hears. The secret could be in the book. Is he there or not? You understand? Sometimes you struck with a lot of quotations which explain a point. Yeah? And still the person argues. So it's not your problem. Listen, the problem, you have done your duty. It's not your problem. The problem is that there is a secret there in the book. That's why we will see when we open up the 7 seals. Because that book, which is sealed with 7 seals, is the book of life. With the names. And that's why nobody was capable to open that book. Except Christ who died for the people. Except Christ who created the people. You understand? He is the only one who was qualified to open that book. Because it contains the names of those who are going to be saved. So, those who worship the beast and his image, and you know what is worshipping the beast, we are crashing every time. Do not conform to the times which were changed in dark ages. These are changed in dark ages, and if you conform to them, you are worshipping the beast. Those who will continue even after being told, even after being satisfied with all evidence, but continue to worship the beast, is because their names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the earth. So God wrote people once. He doesn't write today and remove, and write today and remove. No, he doesn't. I've heard people singing that same. Rakambo nyogwari kadzimwa, musamba. Rakambo nyogwari kadzimwa. No, man. He doesn't act like that, like what we do. And it does not need a book. Yeah? It doesn't need a book. It's all in there. Even the numbers of your hair are all in there. It does not need, but for you to understand, he says books. For your understanding. Because you are used to books. If it was this time, you are no longer using books, you are using emails. So you will say email, or you will say internet. It's in the internet, which has 7 seals. But for your understanding, he has written the book so you can understand. So you can understand, isn't it? But do you think God needs a book and a pen to write somebody? Huh? He's got foreknowledge. He's got infinite knowledge. Yeah? Power is all in him. He does not need to be writing books. But for you and me to get to understand, then we say books, books, books. John has written for us to say books, 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 books. But he knows everyone. He says so. He said, even the hairs of your head are counted. He knows even the number of how many hairs you are. Yeah? If we are talking of proper hairs, not that one you have added, but the proper one, he knows. Yeah, because at the end you say even the one that you are adding, he knows. Yeah. Isn't it? He knows. If he knows everything, he knows. Even when you are still blood in your mother's womb, he knows. Go to the verse which says, Jeremiah 1, verse 5. Jeremiah 1, verse 5. He knows. Even we are still lying. You know, when you go to other texts, you see how wonderful God is. He says, I saw you when you are still blood. And I saw you when you started developing muscles. You started developing eyes. You started developing these sinews. You started developing brain. I saw you. You understand? Go to Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. What does it say?
Verse 5.
Yes.
Before I formed thee.
Before I formed thee.
In the belly.
You see? Before somebody is formed. It's before your mom and your dad were married. Yeah. Huh? Yes. Before your mom and your dad were married, were still boy and girl. He knew these two, when they marry, so and so has to come up. You see how powerful God is. Amen. He deserves us to worship him, amen, to kneel down, because no one has that intelligence. No one. Before I formed thee, I knew you.
Amen.
So me, before my mom and my dad married, he knew there's somebody like me coming out. He knew. And what did he do?
Before I formed thee
Uh-huh.
in the belly,
Right?
I knew thee.
I knew thee.
And before thou camest forth out of the womb,
Right?
I sanctified thee.
So, even those who are made holy, even if you are still there at the beer hall, you are still living your reckless life, but he knows your turning point. He saw it already before you were formed. You can say, I've got holy people here. And then you can classify someone as not holy because you are seeing with your eyes. But he knew this child is going to end up holy. He worshiping God. He knew. So there's no need to judge people. He says, I sanctified you. In other versions, it says, I ordained you. And we are talking of people being ordained here when you see them. God has ordained them before they are formed. There's Jeremiah was sanctified before he was formed. He was ordained as a prophet. Before he was created or he was born, he was already, they knew when he went to the laborhood, maternity unit or whatever, they knew today the prophet is being born. They knew that. So don't wrestle and with no women, no men, no what. You are just dealing with nothing. God knew who is going to lead.
Amen.
So don't wrestle with nothing.
Sure.
That business is not ours. Business of God. And someone saying, no, we are not saying what God ordained, but we are saying what men ordained. Does men ordain without God? Then to hell with that ordination. If it is without God, don't come to me. We need God's ordination. Before he created you, he ordained you. He didn't even see, because there was no blood, nothing. The parents were still boyfriend and girlfriend, marrying. He knew when they marry, so and so is coming, who is already ordained.
Amen.
Before they have even met, there is an ordained someone with these two. That's the God I'm worshiping. So deal with that ordination. Or if you want to go and enjoy it. But I enjoy the God's ordination. It's done before you are born. Yeah? And he saw when you are blood only. And next you are muscles. And next you are hairs. Until 9 months now, you are now a proper something rolling in that tummy. He knows all that. He has no problem with whether it's a boy or it's a girl. He doesn't have that problem. Do you understand? He is forming someone who is ordained, who he has already ordained. That's the ordination which comes with God. I don't know, the one which comes with the dragon, because dragon has a system also. We saw that he has got 7 heads. 7 heads, we saw the 7 heads are systems of worship. Yes. He also has his systems of worship where people have to sit and vote or anything, or before something which already was ordained before creation. Go down again.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth.
Right.
And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought
We
forth
know
a
that
child.
sin occurred when Christ was born. Yeah? The wise men went through Herod and said, the king has been born. Isn't it? You go and read your New Testament again properly and understand what happened when Christ was delivered, isn't it? I'm talking of prophecy here, and I'm talking to people who know events in Bible, isn't it? Now, when they passed it through, Herod said, when you go and see the king, when you know where he is, come back and tell me. But did these wise men go back through Herod? They were visited by an angel at night who told them not to go through Herod's place. And instead, Mary was told to take the child out of Israel to Egypt. The Messiah went to Egypt as a baby. Because Herod did not see the wise men come back to tell them where the king, and he knew that they saw the king. The baby boy, the baby who is a king, they saw that king. Now, they did not pass through here. He started suspecting. They now know where the king is. So for me to eradicate that king, every child from 2 years and below should be killed. And the children were killed. All male children under 2 years died. And the spirit of prophecy say, even the parents suffered because it was also their unbelief. If they believed, God was going to warn them like what he did to Mary, to take their children out. You see how important it is to worship God? Yeah. Mary was pious, religious. Because of that, God whispered to Mary to take the child out. Those women, why their children died is because they were not pious. They could have also been warned to run away with their children. So you women and men, keep yourself in touch with heaven. Whatever befalls you, God will whisper. That's what happened. And that it was the prophets where the dragon was waiting to devour the male child when delivered by this woman. Yeah? Right, let's go down deep.
And she brought forth a man child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
Yeah?
And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness,
Right.
where she had the place prepared of God.
And we know where this woman, because after the early Christian church was established, yeah? People like Constantine started invading the church with paganism, changing times and laws through we saw the little horn head, speaking things and changing times and laws and persecuting those who were refusing. We saw that. Now, this is the woman which is now being what? Persecuted. And instead, God gave this woman what? Wings like an eagle to fly away out of Canaan, out of Israel. The metropolitan city of the Christian church was in Jerusalem. There was serious persecution in Jerusalem. Yeah? And you know where there was Christopher Columbus who discovered a land which was not inhabited. You know where the land was. And I told you the 1776 establishment of the independence of America was done. Yeah? It was allowed by God so that the churches which were fleeing persecution in Jerusalem went there to establish their headquarters. Yes. And it's the only country that had money written, in God we what? We trust. Yeah? It worked so hard to accommodate those who were exiled because of this persecution. Yeah? You understand? Yes. And out of Israel, the spirit of prophet said the woman was given eagle's wings to fly out to where? To the wilderness. Yeah? Yeah? Yes. Now, I want to ask you one question. If you are living with your husband, yeah? And you are a woman, and your husband is beating you, persecuting you all the time. Sometimes you flee, yeah? To your uncle and stay with your uncle until the husband is sober, isn't it? Now, the place where your uncle has taken you to hide from your husband, does it become your home? No. Now, the Bible here says the woman was given eagle's wings to fly away to the wilderness. God calls that place wilderness because where the woman was the actual home of the woman. That's the vineyard. So the woman has flown to her uncle to hide from persecution. Right?
Yes.
But which place had Christ established to be the headquarters of this woman? And for a reason which God has seen and approved, this woman should hide. Huh?
Yes.
Because there is what? Persecution. And for how many years should the woman hide? Read.
And the woman fled into the wilderness,
Yeah?
where she had the place prepared of God,
Yeah?
that they should feed her there 1,203 score days.
That's the time for the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
So when the woman was given wings to flee to the wilderness, how many years was the woman supposed to stay there? 1,260. Now I go back to the woman when she was fleeing the husband and stays with the uncle. Now the persecution is finished. The husband said, the persecution, no, sorry, all is done. So does the woman continue staying with the uncle? So there is a woman who has continued now to lay eggs and to have children in the wilderness. And building now homes with the uncle. Well, when the husband is saying, things are done, come back. But let me tell you one thing. The children, when you stay at your uncle's place, running away from your husband, the children you bear, the day they know their father is there, they will go back.
Yeah.
They will go back to their father and leave you with the uncle.
Yeah.
That's why you see now, the latter end has to away. Go back to Zechariah chapter 14, verse 16.
16.
Yeah.
And it shall come to pass that
Yeah.
everyone that is left of all the nations
Mhm.
which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King,
Right?
the Lord of hosts,
Right.
and to keep the feast of tabernacle.
Yeah.
And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain.
Where is the latter rain?
Jerusalem.
Now, some children have discovered where their father is. And they have obeyed Zechariah chapter 14, verse 16 to 17. From year to year, they go to their dead. According to the letter. Because mommy had run away from persecution, but God has made dead to be right now, isn't it? Yes. And daddy is fine. And the children need their dad.
Yes.
They go from year to year to keep the feast of tabernacle with their dad.
Amen.
For a mother might have forgotten it was 1,260 years in the wilderness. He has got to come back to dad. Home is home.
Yes.
Go back home. Go back home. Why God is not saying from year to year they have to go to Harare, or year to year they have to go to whatever country. He specifies correctly from year to year.
Yes.
Go to your home.
Amen.
Go home. Go home. Go home. From year to year. And when the latter rain comes, whoever does not go home shall be no rain. If that headquarters was developed because of persecution, surely persecution is long done. We have to go back.
Yeah.
Go home. But God knew that some will establish homes at uncle's home. They establish homes and won't want to come home. But the children will say, where did we come from? Where? Who is our dad? And God say, from here to here. And we'll ask, where the former rain was given to the first Christians. Where were they? Go to Acts chapter 2. They were not in Harare. They were not in Joburg. They were not in Tanzania, in whatever country. They were not there. They were specified where they were assembled. And they received the first rain, the former rain. And now we are about to receive the second rain. Where should we go? Because mommy has continued to develop in uncle's place. Mommy doesn't want to come back. Mother doesn't want to come back. Mother has been promoted and enjoying in uncle's home. We have to go back home. Otherwise, we won't receive the later rain.
Yes.
Let's go there.
Acts chapter 2.
Yeah.
Verse 1.
Right.
And when the day of Pentecost was fully come,
Yeah.
they were all with one accord.
Where?
One place.
Where were they? In one place. Right?
And suddenly, there came a sound from heaven.
Amen.
A rushing mighty wind.
Right.
And it filled all the house where they were sitting.
Yes.
And there appeared unto them cloven tongues,
Uh-huh.
as of fire,
Right.
and set upon each of them.
Where were they? Verse 5.
Verse 5.
Where?
And they were dwelling at Jerusalem.
Not in Harare.
Amen.
Not in Tanzania.
No.
Not in Joburg.
No.
Not in London.
No.
Not whatever. Not. They were in Jerusalem. Where were they coming from? They were dwelling in Jerusalem. Where?
And then were dwelling at Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Jews. Devout men of every nation
Under heaven.
Amen.
Mind you, these are the first Christians who were working with Christ.
Yeah.
These are the first Christians who joined Christ. They were coming from the church which bare Jesus. Yeah? And they had come now to keep the feast of Pentecost in Jerusalem. And they received the former rain. Now it's about the time for the later rain. But mommy is still at uncle's place in the wilderness. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, but the verse is saying they will go year to year like it was happening with who? With the early Christian church.
Yes.
Because every year they were going to keep the feast where? In Jerusalem. Now he says, if no one comes from year to year to keep the Feast of Tabernacle, there will be no rain. So the children now know where Daddy is.
Yeah.
And the later rain comes exactly at your home, where Daddy is. Where the early Christian church was established. And also, the last church, we know we have a church triumphant, will also be at the same place. Huh?
Amen.
So, let's go back to Revelation chapter 12. Now, when you read these prophecies, they should really open up a meaning. So that you know exactly what things happen, what things are like in front of God. He has spoken, by the way, in parable, so that those who are actually being translated, made into the 1/3, which is supposed to be saved, will actually understand. Yeah. Never mind those who argue. But those who are supposed to be translated, they will see a story which is straightforward and simple to understand.
Yes.
Right?
And the woman fled into the wilderness,
Yeah?
where she had the place prepared of God, that they should feed her 1,203 days.
Do you see what happened? It was a specific time for the woman to go and stay how many? 1,260 in the wilderness. Yeah? Uh-huh.
And there was war in heaven.
Right?
Michael and his
At that
angels-
time now, John is being shown what is happening in heaven. There was war in heaven. Uh-huh.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon,
Mhm.
and the dragon fought and his angels,
Mhm.
and prevailed not.
Mm.
Neither was their place found anymore in heaven.
Right.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
When was the devil cast out of heaven? Not when he was cast out at the beginning, at the foundation, before the beginning of the earth. He was cast out, but he still had access to going back to heaven. You understand? You remember that time in Job, when he saw every planet had sent a representative to heaven on a feast. It was a feast. And the representative for other unfallen worlds, they went to heaven. But he saw that the planet Earth had not sent anyone. So he thought of representing the planet Earth. And that's why in Job, God is asking him, where are you coming from, Satan? And he says, from traveling to and fro. He says, listen. He's trying to tell the devil that if I wanted someone here, I could have taken Job. Then he says, do you see there is Job? Who knows how to dodge every evil thing? Who has kept his life upright on earth? He's telling the devil that if I wanted someone from earth, I could have taken Job, not you. Then the devil answered and said, it's because you are blessing him so much, that's why. That's why all that debate was happening in heaven. And God now said, I will take off all those things that you think Job is worshiping me because I have blessed him. He removed all the blessing. You know the story, isn't it? Because the devil God wanted to prove to the devil that Job was upright, not because of blessings, but because the heart was desiring all the time to be upright with God. Now, I'm saying the devil, before the cross, before Christ died, him and his angels, they had access to go back to heaven, isn't it? Yes. Because God had already not banned the devil completely. So he had access to be coming back. Yeah? But after Christ died on the cross, and all the angels in heaven who were still upright beheld the devil and his angels arraying himself and arraying all the people who killed Christ and arraying that these people should actually kill the Son of God. It proved to those angels how bad the devil was. Yes. So that is the time when Christ woke up from his grave. Where did he go? And what happened when he went to heaven? There was war in heaven. Because it says all power, when he came back, Christ says in Matthew chapter 28, all power has been given to me. He was given the power because he prevailed. He fought against the devil and his angels. And he conquered. And now he came to the inhabitants of earth and said, all power has been given. Now you go and preach. And you will be supported by heaven. You see what happened? Why do I say the war was done when Christ rose up from the cross, after being resurrected? Not before. Read the next verse there. Yes.
Okay. And the dragon.
Which verse is that?
9.
Uh-huh.
And the dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world.
Right.
He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Right.
And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven,
right.
Now is come salvation,
yes,
and strength, and the kingdom of our God,
right,
and the power of his Christ.
Right.
For the accuser of our brethren is cast down,
right,
which accused them before our God day and night.
Right.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved
those who fought against the devil in heaven, they overcome by what? The blood of Christ. When was the blood shed? On the cross. This is what happened when he rose up. They overcome because of the blood of Christ. Amen. What does it mean they overcome? Because they triumphed. The whole universe knew how bad this 1/3 is because they shed Christ's blood. So this made them confident that the devil and the 1/3 are wrong. Yeah? That's why I say this war was done when he went to heaven, after the cross. Because before the cross, the blood was not yet shed. Yeah? Now read on, let's see.
Verse 12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens,
Right?
and ye that dwell in them.
From that time after the cross, heaven was smart. No more accusers of brethren. Yeah? If you see people who accuse, who talk about other brethren, they have inherited that spirit. If you talk good about other brethren, but don't talk bad. If you talk bad about brethren, so we know the spirit that you have, because they were accusing other brethren there. So they are here on earth. That's why I say, woe unto you, the accuser of brethren is with you, influencing you to talk against other brethren.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you,
Right?
having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
Right? So he knows the time is short. After the cross, there's short time. So he is serious in making sure everyone conform with his own religion, not the religion of the woman. So there are two religions now. He has got 10 horns and 7 heads, which is a religion. We saw it, right? Here, God has got a woman with the sun, dressed up with the sun and the moon, which continued from Jewish church to early Christian church, and now that's the woman. And this woman liveth until the end.
Amen.
Yeah?
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
Right?
And when the dragon saw that he was cast out unto the earth, he persecuted the woman,
Right?
which brought forth the man child.
Now, where is the woman? The woman is no longer in the wilderness.
No.
Some people are still looking at the wilderness. The wilderness has got no woman. Because the woman, when the dragon saw that now he has got, first he started with the woman as in the early Christian church. It was Jews persecuting Christians, isn't it? Yeah. And then later on it went to Christian persecuting Christians, isn't it?
Yes.
And the persecution which was there in Dark Ages was Christian to Christian, isn't it? Yes, it was no longer Jews. You remember Paul of Tarsus was belonging to the Jewish church, killing the Christians, who all the disciples, they were killed. And later on, when the church was invaded by paganism, it went into Dark Ages. The persecution was now Christian to Christian, isn't it? That is the wrath which the devil had, knowing that there is now a short space of time. He is now banished from heaven completely. Now he's just dealing now with those until Christ comes back. Yeah?
And when the dragon saw that he was cast out unto the earth, he persecuted the woman, which brought forth the man child.
Yeah?
And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness,
Right?
into her place,
It's just a repetition of what happened to the woman.
where she
What
is nourished
Right?
for a time and time.
She was
and
being
habitat
nourished in the wilderness. But for how long? For
a time
1,260. Dark Ages time.
From
The
the
woman
face of
was
the
being nourished, isn't it? But do you think if you exceed your time, do you continue to be nourished? Huh? Even when you go into a country as a foreigner, you are given time limit of when to how long to stay.
Yes.
If you continue staying beyond your time, are you still welcome there?
No.
God himself is the one who was nourishing the woman when the woman was sent to the wilderness. And God is no longer nourishing the woman after exceeding your time of stay. Yeah?
And the serpent
Right?
cast out of his mouth.
You see what
water.
happened now instead? When God is no longer nourishing the woman in the wilderness, the devil took water in the mouth. This dragon took water in the mouth. And where did he spit the water? To the woman.
Yes.
To the what?
To the woman.
Water coming from the mouth of the dragon. Why? Why? Read. Why?
That you might cause it to be carried away of the flood.
To make sure this system of worship is completely abolished. That's what the devil has done to the woman. Took water. Now, we want to see what is this water. Go to Revelation chapter 17, verse 15. What is water?
Verse 15.
Yes?
And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest,
Yeah?
where the war sitteth,
Yeah?
are people,
Peoples.
and multitudes,
Multitudes.
and nations,
Nations.
and tongues.
We know from the early Christian church, who were the converts? The Israelites, isn't it? These are the first Christians, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, their progression could not be as so much advanced. Like what we hear about billions of people now. No, not at all. Yeah? It's either the devil also has taken his own,
Yes.
who are not, because the Bible does not refer to Israelites as people, multitudes, nations, and tongues. No, the Israelites are called Israelites. But if you are now being called to say, you have, when they went out of Egypt, there were Israelites going out of Egypt, isn't it? But there was another section called mixed multitude. Who are those? There were those whose parents had married those who were not Israelites. So they were not called Israelites. Their children were not called Israelites. They were called mixed multitude. Now here, we are being told there are some who do not belong to this woman, who the devil took. Who are they? Peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. To the woman. Why? And you can imagine, if they have to carry to cause the whole system of this woman to be abolished, where are they stationed? At the head or at the top? At the bottom. And when there is a bus and somebody wants to make that bus have a serious accident, who do you intoxicate with beer? The driver or the passenger? Now we know what is happening from that verse, isn't it? The verse says it all. Yeah? What was taken by the devil? Peoples, multitudes, nations, and who did not belong to the woman. To cause the system of worship from God to be distorted. Have you heard people say, I don't want to hear, tell me from the Bible and the Bible only. Don't tell me from the spirit of prophecy. We are a people because of the voice of prophecy.
Yes. Amen.
Yeah? Even the early Christian church, John was empowered with the spirit of prophecy. He says to that angel, the angel says to John, do not bow for me. Worship God. For the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus. Yeah? Now here, the devil, after seeing he has been banned in heaven, yeah? Then, like what he did when he was cast from heaven, where did he go? To Eve. Did you see? He didn't go to Adam.
No.
He went to
Eve.
Why to Eve? To the woman. He knows once the woman has been made evil, it's easy to make the husband evil. Blessed are the men whose women are righteous.
Amen.
Because the men will be righteous. But if your woman is anti-worshipping, I feel pity for the men. Until you work hard like Lot, who worked hard when knowing the wife is evil. You know why he didn't turn Lot, he didn't turn back.
No.
When the woman was being a heap of salt, you think that didn't make noise? That heap made noise. But Lot kept on running ahead without even looking back. That's what the man, if you realize your woman is not pious in God's things, keep on like Lot. Lot is there for your example. Lot is your example. Keep on. Don't look back. Yeah? And happy is a man whose wife is righteous, because the women, I'm a woman. Do you understand? I'm a woman. I know how to keep my husband upright. I'll make sure before the Sabbath, I'm ready. It's the woman who makes sure the Sabbath is kept at home, isn't it? It's the woman who makes sure there is preparation on time. I'll make sure I'll work very hard for my husband to be upright, isn't it? We are very influential. Women are very influential. Yeah. And if there are people to be ordained, they are the women, because they are more influential, I tell you. They are. They are. Even when your child, you go to funerals, isn't it? And if it's a funeral of, if it is the wife who's died, people mourn more than when the husband has died. I know that. Do you know why they are pricked? Because once the children are left with the father, they are really orphans. Why? They don't have that influence the mother has. They don't have the influence the mother has of making sure everything is done. They don't have. You understand? But if all they know is that this man, after a certain days of mourning, is going to marry another woman. And another woman is going to influence that man against his children. That's it. But when a woman remains with the children, no one will influence a woman against her children at all. She will die hard for her children. She will work very hard for her children. So this job really is for women. It's for women. I'm telling you, you sooner or later find out it's for women. That's why the church is depicted not as a man, as a woman. Amen. If they put this picture like a man with the 12 stars and dressed in the sun and the moon, it won't be appropriate. No. But we are here having a woman with 12 stars, dressed with the sun, on top of the moon, appropriate. Amen. Appropriate image from heaven. Yeah? Let's understand these things very well in a spiritual manner. Let's understand this scripturally, not culturally, but scripturally, religiously, not culturally. Yeah? Yeah? Wake up. Wake up. There are continents who really don't even recognize women. Wake up. Wake up. You have marvelous things within your door. Yes. A woman. Very marvelous. Even when there is no money in the home, she will never stop cooking. And yet a man, when there is nothing to cook, he was just starting going next door to look for. But a woman, whether there is nothing to cook at home, you will see her in the kitchen cooking for the children. Amen. Wake up! Amen. Wake up! Yeah? Now, let's read on and see. Now, we are seeing a scenario which is really unpleasant. A woman now has been, the water has come from the devil to cause this woman to, yeah? Those people who pause and say we belong to this woman, we are the one. Be careful, because so much came from the what? From the dragon to the woman. Yeah? Can't fool anyone. Can't fool anyone. Read.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth
right
as a flood after the woman.
Right.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Right.
And the earth helped the woman.
Instead, the earth now helped the woman. How? Uh-huh.
And the earth opened her mouth.
Right.
And swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Do you see what the earth did? It's not me who did. It's the earth. And Datan. And all. Do we read somewhere in the Bible when there is a marking of the people in Ezekiel 9? Go to Ezekiel 9. And people being marked with a seal. And those who are not marked, someone follows, slaying those without a seal. Do we hear that? And do you see in the history of the church? The woman is being helped by the earth to swallow the flood. To swallow all those who have been taken to the woman who did not belong there. Uh-huh.
Ezekiel 9.
Right?
Verse 1.
Verse 4.
Verse 4.
Mm.
And the Lord said unto him,
Yeah.
Go through the midst of the city,
Uh-huh.
through the midst of Jerusalem,
Right?
and set a mark upon the foreheads of
You
the
know
men."
judgment begins in the house of God. What do you call judgment? The sealing process begins in the house of God, isn't it? They are sealed first. So this is the sealing process, which Ezekiel is saying, and which you can read from Testimonies to Ministers, page 475. It says, the same sealing which is in Revelation 7 is the same in Ezekiel 9. Yeah? So that's the sealing process. Uh-huh.
And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem,
Yeah?
and set a mark upon the foreheads of the man, that sound cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst
You
of
and
them.
I believe we are in that period where there is sealing process. We are receiving the seal from God first, isn't it? Uh-huh.
And to the others he said, Mind hearing.
Right?
Go ye after him through the city and smite.
Right?
Let not your eyes spare,
Right.
neither have ye pity.
Do you see to the others? These are angels, isn't it? And the spirit of prophecy says these same angels which killed the firstborns in Egypt. Remember, the firstborns were killed in Egypt. Are the same angels who will do that job. Huh? Now they are waiting for judgment begins. The seal is being received in the people who are waiting for the translation, isn't it? And it starts with the house of God. Right? And then after it is finished in the house of God, there is 6 angels are following. What happens? Smite those we do not have the seal of God. That's what will happen at the end, isn't it? Uh-huh.
Verse 6. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men, which were before the house.
Did you see when we said those who are swallowed by, the flood coming from the dragon was sent to the woman, isn't it?
Yes.
These are the people, and start with them, isn't it? They started with those who were in front of the house. You know them, those who are in front. And what happens?
And he said unto them, Defile the house.
Defile
and
the house.
The courts with the slain.
This is
Go
there.
ye forth.
Has this happened before?
No.
Now, do we have it somewhere in the spirit of prophecy? Yes, we have. Go to Testimonies for the Church, volume 5, page 211. The same book of Ezekiel 9 is being commented by Sister White. Uh-huh.
22.
Right?
Here we see that the church, the Lord's sanctuary,
Right.
was the first to feel the stroke of the wrath of God.
Right?
The ancient men,
The ancient
those
men,
to whom God had given great light,
they had been given great light.
and who had stood as guardians of the spiritual interests of the people.
They are the ones who are telling people not to worship, not to read, not to what, not be careful, be careful.
Had betrayed their trust.
They betrayed their trust. Uh-huh.
They had taken the position
Yeah.
that we need not look for miracles.
Ah,
and
this
manifestation
is the church of God.
God's power.
This is a ship which will never sink, which will never, which is, these all others are life-saving boats. They had taken that, isn't it? Eh?
They had taken the position that we need not look for miracles, and the marked manifestation of God's power is in 4 days. Times have changed.
That's what they say, times have changed. What he was doing with Noah and what he was doing with the Lord is not what he does now. Times are now changed. Yeah?
These words
strengthen
their unbelief.
Yeah.
And they say, the Lord will not do good.
They would not.
Neither will he do
Now
evil.
we do evil.
It
He's
is
just
foolish
stationary
to
there in
visit people
heaven.
in judgment.
He's stationary there.
Thus, peace and safety
Right.
is the cry of men who will never again lift up their voice like a trumpet to
Yeah.
show God's people their transgressions and the house of Jacob their sins.
Right?
These dumb dogs that will not bark are the ones who feel the just vengeance of an offended God.
Is this going to happen?
Yes.
Now we see it in Revelation chapter 12 that the earth opened her mouth and swallowed the flood. Do you see that incident? Is there in Revelation chapter 12? Yeah? It's where we are going at the end of the world. This is going to happen. And what else? Revelation 12. When the earth swallowed her mouth and swallowed the
And the earth helped the woman. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
right?
And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
Now.
He went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
Yeah?
Which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
Those who were not killed by these angels are what is called the remnant. I wonder people calling themselves remnant now. No, not until this incident occurs. Then the remnant remain. Remnant is a remainder. That's remnant. You don't know how to spell the word. You spell the word remnant. What remaining from what? If you are remnant already now, it's a remnant after this incident. Then now the devil was now wroth with the woman who remained. Do you see the church? Do you see the woman was not slaughtered? Did you see that? Because the dragon now saw the woman. So those people who were calling themselves woman before, and they have been the ones to start with the Ancient of Days. And where were they coming from, these people? Yeah? Where were they coming from? And now we are seeing after this general slaughter from the angels who were slaughtering the firstborns in Egypt, which is a type. They're starting with the firstborn, which are the ones that are in front of the house, isn't it? But now is still a woman remaining. Did you see that?
Yes.
Who remained now? A woman. Because the dragon is now wroth with the woman. Those who repeat that sentence, verse 17.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
Yeah?
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
Right?
Which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus.
They have a prophet.
Yes.
Because they don't keep the testimony of Jesus, but they have a prophet. What is the testimony of Jesus? It's a prophet. Go to CET 243. What is the testimony of Jesus? Because these ones who remained, they keep the commandments, and also they have a prophet, or they have the testimony of Jesus. So what is it that they have?
In clear terms,
Right.
the prophet John speaks of the remnant,
Right.
of the last church,
The last church.
as those who keep the commandments of God
Yeah.
and have the testimony of Jesus.
Right.
In another passage,
Right.
the same writer
Right.
gives a plain definition of what he means by the testimony of Jesus.
What does John mean by the testimony of
When
Jesus?
on one occasion, John attempted to worship the angel who appeared to him in vision. and
In
came to
Revelation
say,
19 verse 10, he attempted to worship with someone with the testimony of Jesus.
And the angel said,
Right.
Don't do it not.
Don't do
I
that.
am thy fellow servant,
Yeah.
and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Jesus.
Right?
Worship God.
Right.
Under similar circumstances.
Under
this
similar
angel
circumstances.
said,
Yes.
as recorded in another place.
Yeah.
Say thou do it not, for I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren,
Right.
the prophets.
These are prophets. So, the last war which the devil has, yeah, is to to fight this remnant, for they are keeping the commandments, and also fight them because they have a communication with heaven. Because it's this communication with heaven which made them dodge this slaughter, which made them receive the seal, which made them keep the feast, which made them receive the latter rain. So he's wroth with the remnant after this slaughter, who have a prophet around them. May God bless this study. If it is going to open our eyes as we continue to enjoy the prophecies of Revelation from the prophecies of Daniel, shall we pray?